dynamic? How do they relate to one another? And what's going to work for them?
Mom never wanted to live with us.
Yeah, we offered,
Mm-hmm.
and she said, no, I want my own place. So we bought her the home that she lived in. It was half a mile from us. And she was fine in it while she was driving, but after she couldn't drive any longer, she just sat in there and didn't even watch TV. And she was always a TV hound, but just got depressed, really. And that's when we decided we had to do something. And we moved her, and it was a good move for her, as she confessed. But that wouldn't work for everybody.
Yeah. How important is community for parents who are aging or transitioning?
I think it's important for everybody at every age. God made us as social beings to be with others. When the only thing God created that he said wasn't good was Adam, when Adam was the only human being. And everything else he said, oh, this is good. When he created Adam, he said, this is not good. And basically he said, the Spirit who was with him and the Father, we've got to do something about this. And they created Eve. They took Eve, a rib out of Adam's body, and formed Eve. And then he said, not just this is good, this is very good. We're meant to be social. We're meant to be in relationship with people. And some of the saddest cases I've seen are where people are isolated to the point where they have nobody. And often they get bitter, get depressed. They're not people that you like to be around because they're very critical, very negative. We learn from each other. We grow with each other. And that's God's plan from the beginning. And that hasn't changed.
When did you start to realize that things were going to have to change for your parents?
Well, I think you've already said for Mom, you've shared.
With my father, there was no warning. We were fine. Actually, we saw him a few days before it happened. He was fine as he ever was at 86 years old. And then he had a massive stroke. Never spoke again, never walked again. And so there was an essential change. He went right into a hospital, was hospitalized for a while, and went from there to rehab. And we realized then it was not getting better, so we had to find a place for him to be in a full-time skilled care facility. And fortunately, there was one not far from my mother's house that we moved him to. It wasn't the nicest place, but it was convenient, because little did we know he'd last 5 years in that facility.
And Mom went every day.
Every day, unless it snowed or she was sick. Her routine was she'd get up in the morning, have breakfast, go to church to help out in the office. It was, I think, as much a social thing as anything else. She had good friends there at church, and every morning she was there. They'd have their coffee, they'd fold the bulletins or the letters, whatever had to be done, do it together. She'd go home for lunch and then spend the afternoon and early evening, up till early evening at least, with Dad, feed him lunch, spend the afternoon with him, feed him dinner, and then go home, wash, rinse, repeat. That was her routine for 5 years.
Yeah, and it's a commitment to marriage. And with my parents, we live a distance. Even though we did with Mom and your parents, we have less to do with them because we were the main caregivers for Herc's parents.
What have been some of the challenges of keeping in touch with parents and being aware of their needs from a distance?
Well, if you don't visit often, then you're not aware, I think. And if you're not in contact with them over the phone, or like I said, visiting, and especially visiting, you're not going to know. A lot of times parents aren't going to say anything because they want to protect their children. They don't want to be a burden. That's one of the biggest things, consistent things I have heard from older adults. I don't want to be a burden to my children. And so therefore they don't ask for help. And they will hide the truth really often and just pretend things are better than they really are.
As a chaplain, I face that with my families all the time, and I have a story I tell them that is a true story, but it helps them recognize that it's not so much a burden. I ask them, have you in your lifetime helped people? And invariably they say yes. And I say, and after you've done so, did you go away and say, wow, that was a burden, I wish they hadn't called me? No, you didn't. You were glad you were able to help. It was a blessing to you. Well, now if you need help and you don't call somebody and ask them to help you or let them help you, you're robbing them of the blessing, not of a burden. And sometimes that makes a difference. They then open up and do confess to their friends, their family, that, hey, I need help. And when they get it, they're blessing their family by letting them be of help. Because we all want to help our parents. I don't care what the relationship has been. Deep down, there's something inside of us that says we want to be helpers. We want to help others, especially if we're Christians. But we want to do it, and sometimes don't know how. And it's up to the person that needs the help to let the available helpers know what they can do that will be of help to them.
Yes, that's one of the biggest things. I've done the same thing as far as that communication, but to be specific as far as what the needs are. Because a lot of people want to help, but they don't know how they can be of help. Mm-hmm. They don't know what to do. They can say, hey, I'm here for you, but nobody calls them. So it's up to the older person. If they're willing to ask for help, they may be even in denial and not really admitting what's going on. But then I think that's where family comes in to get a good, clear picture of what is going on so that they can be an advocate for their parents to reach out and say, hey, do you mind checking on mom and dad 3 times a week? Or can you clean the house for them? They can't do that anymore. It's a burden. Plus the fact they're getting their house clean, but they have some socialization. Other people coming in, a different, more objective set of eyes to see what's really going on. Such as, this person may be incontinent. And they can tell that with the sheets, with clothing, and that is hidden. That would be hidden by the parents.
And even more
from the children.
Even more so, onset dementia.
Exactly.
Which can be hidden for a short period of time, but if you're there with them, you start seeing things.
Exactly. They can put on a good show for a little while, and most people do. It's just natural. So.
We like to hide our weaknesses.
That's for sure. We all do. But we all need help. And it looks different for everybody.